Well, hello everyone. It is a fascinating day and an awful lot coming. I've actually been served some papers by Dr. Michael Brown asking for a retraction. So I'm going to get to that tomorrow because I don't have time today. I did briefly read through it, and you know, everything that's been said about the Dr. Michael Brown and the Haitian situation is we're going to look at it and see if anything's been said false, but I have had a lot of corroboration. So Ecclesiastes 3, my Bible opens up today. I literally took my dad's Bible, actually, and I said, okay, Lord, I need a word. And it opened up to Ecclesiastes 3, where, of course, what he's underlined is this: to everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. And we're going to do that today. A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. He has made everything beautiful in His time. Amen. That's what God does. He does make everything beautiful. And of course, there's some things that we'd like to make beautiful because it's been a mess and an ugly situation. But I'm going to read to you today the Daystar link that they have put out, and I will put this up to share, JT. We are moving fast today because there's a lot going on. All right, so Daystar Network has put out an immediate media statement. So they're saying this: closing of Colleyville Police Department investigations. And of course, we have been sounding the alarm nonstop that the investigation is open. And from what we've heard, Daystar has badgered the Colleyville Police Station nonstop. They want this closed. They want either charges or shut her down. Now, it's a very touchy thing when allegations are brought against someone for being a pervert and a pedophile. It's a very touchy thing to, make sure that all the ducks are in a row so that you can actually bring charges. It's a difficult thing. Notwithstanding, there has been much evidence presented to the police. They are not shutting it down because of their own volition they'd like to, but basically because Daystar, the all-powerful Daystar, has done their bidding and insisted on it. And of course, they don't like that the allegations are over one of their main presenters every day who's on Daystar. Well over 24, 25 broadcasters have left the network because of these allegations. And it's a very serious thing. So what do we do in light of this? Well, this is what they've said. Following a comprehensive investigation, hilarious, Daystar learned through counsel today that Colleyville Police Department has officially closed its investigation with no further action or charges into allegations of abuse involving a child in the Lamb family. The original peace report filed several years ago alleged that an unidentified classmate of the child committed the alleged abuse. In November 2024, media reports surfaced falsely accusing another Lamb family member, identified as Pete, in the reporting of committing the alleged abuse. Daystar fully cooperated with law enforcement's investigation. In addition, Pete denied any wrongdoing, and he voluntarily agreed to be interviewed by the Colleyville Police Department. Pete also voluntarily sat for and passed 2 separate lie detector tests performed by 2 independent, highly experienced experts. We've covered that. No evidence that has ever existed implicating Pete in any crime, and no charges are being brought against Pete. The absence of any evidence of any wrongdoing by Pete is underscored with the closing of this investigation, which further confirms that there was never any mishandling, as falsely argued by some on social media on the part of Daystar and its leadership. As it has said from day one, Daystar Television Network takes all allegations of sexual misconduct very seriously. Yeah, we can tell that by the way that they actually took the allegations against that chiropractor that essayed Susie. You took that really seriously, didn't you? You paid the guy and you sent him on his way. Susie had a serious claim against what had happened. There was no denial of it. Basically, you paid the guy off, sent him away. He's deceased. So, unbelievable. Other allegations against Joni Lamb's own father of groping and, the staff. Yes, I'm sure you took that oh so seriously. Unbelievable. Even while this investigation has been on, you've taken it so seriously that you have believed the lie of exoneration that Rachel Lamb told. Rachel Lamb told Marcus Lamb that Pete had been exonerated, and none of it was true. And that was confirmed by Miss Denise Boggs and Debbie Lenhart. What had not happened is that Pete never returned for his, future appointments to meet alone with Miss Debbie Lenhart. As we've heard from her, she wanted to meet alone because it was actually difficult for Pete to get a word in edgewise with Rachel there, telling all her side of the truth as she believed it. Well, we have some stunning evidence to talk about today. I mean, stunning. And when it talks about a time for peace and a time for war, I'm sorry, when it comes to the protection of children and when it comes to justice for baby Lamb, it's a time for war. This is not done by a long shot. So, Daystar fully cooperated with law enforcement's investigation. Pete denied any wrongdoing and he voluntarily agreed to be interviewed by the Colleyville Police Department. Yes, that is what has been easy for Pete to do, to deny any wrongdoing as he would otherwise. His sorry butt is going to jail. So of course, it's just a step away to, give your version of that. Yeah, I didn't do it. But did he go back to Miss Debbie Lenhart? No. Pete, in fact, asked Miss Denise Boggs if she would write a letter. Would you mind writing a letter on letterhead stating that I'm exonerated? To which Miss Denise Boggs absolutely said, no, there's no way that I'm going to do that. All right. So back to the letter. As it has said from day one, yeah, whoever wrote this didn't do a very good job. I mean, it should say, as it has been said, but you screwed up. You left a letter, you left a word out here. It has said from day one, Daystar Television Network takes all allegations of sexual misconduct very seriously. We grieve for and give credence to the voice of every victim of abuse. Except your own granddaughter. Oh, disgusting. In this matter, however, there is simply no evidence that any alleged abuse was ever committed by Pete. What about JW and Rebecca? Joni Lamb? What about the letter written by JW and Rebecca? Do you know that the first people to suspect Pete was not Jonathan and Susie? It was JW and Rebecca. And to this day, as they have told the police, they will not have Rachel or Pete in their home. They will not have them fraternizing with their children, certainly not unsupervised at any given family event. Rebecca and JW knew something. They saw something. And in the early days, when they had the courage to stand, they stood. That is on record with the police. But of course, as you can well imagine, when you make serious allegations and bring charges against someone, you need a lot of evidence so that you don't bring it before a court and a judge throws it out because, well, it's just not enough that, you know, JW and Rebecca think he's kind of weird because of the way that he was touching the child. It's maybe not enough for a judge, but is it enough for public opinion? It sure is. Here's how disturbing all of this is. What happened with JW and Rebecca is that they visually saw Joshua be so inappropriate with the child in question that they went immediately to Jonathan and Susie and they said, listen, because there had been an outcry, there had been the word of the child that had said that she had been touched inappropriately. And so the family, as they're saying here, was like, who did this? Was it like someone at the school? So that's why they're saying initially it was reported that it was at the school. Susie was beside herself. And she thought it has to be someone at the school. But they found out that there was no men working at the school. And here's the thing all left out. This isn't said in any of this nonsense. What was said was that the perpetrator was taller than Daddy. You know, children, and many of you out there, you have been through SA, and you know that it's hard to talk about, and some of you never talked about it. I get your emails because it's so personal that you never said anything. The beautiful thing is that this child was able to speak to her mother, Susie, and was able to disclose that something was amiss. Of course it was upsetting. So they looked in obvious places, never ever wanting to think that it could possibly be a family member. Nobody wants to think that. But the next things that happened is that JW and Rebecca saw something so gross and disgusting. And they've told Joni this. Joni and Marcus, unfortunately, they didn't want any of it. I mean, this was going to break apart the family. This isn't somebody that we know of that we can just pay off to leave, because that's the MO. You pay them off and they leave. We can't pay off Pete. Could you? Maybe. Maybe one day. So JW and Rebecca reported this. And in actual fact, they had a gathering with Miss Denise Boggs, who knew that there was suspect actions going on by Pete. And they got together with Jonathan and Susie, and whether on a call or however they did it, they prayed that God would reveal if there was anything to the possibility that the strange uncle who does inappropriate touching in the open, that something would be found out. They prayed. And then the infamous beach vacation at the beach house. That's when that took place. After praying that God would reveal something, Susie, as we all know, tells little precious one to go and get changed for the beach. And right beside her is the very odd and very strange Pete, who has been outed by Jonathan's sister and his brother-in-law, having told them that he, well, don't let him near the kids. And wouldn't you know, when Susie says, go and get dressed into your bathing suit, in private, of course, she would mean, she turns around, she sees Pete's eyes. She sees them. He's not looking at her. He has his sights set on something else. And Susie's words were, his eyes turned black. And what did this grown man, an uncle, do? When a child is told to go and get changed to go to the beach, the grown uncle follows the girl up the stairs into the bedroom, at which point Susie had this sixth sense that she needed to get her husband involved. Jonathan then is downstairs in the basement, not like Redwig, kind of, doesn't really know where things are going on. And Joni seems to be in several different places in the house at the same time, by her version. Apparently, I believe Susie and Jonathan's version, that Joni's in the basement as well. Susie runs down, she gets Jonathan, Jonathan runs up the stairs, gets into the room, just in time to witness a grown man being in their own children's bedroom while their child is changing. What kind of person does that? Any of you people out there think that's a little odd? I bet you do, because most of the world thinks that's odd. You know who doesn't think there's anything strange about that? Redwig and Joni. No, nothing strange about that. What ensues after this event is a complete family blow-up. Marcus and Joni are informed suddenly by Susie and Jonathan. Now, they had no idea, because JW, Rebecca, Miss Denise Boggs, and Jonathan and Susie had been having these talks, knowing that something's wrong with Pete. He's a weirdo. He's touching up kids. And they had asked the Lord for this reveal if there's something wrong. And all of a sudden, there he is, in a place he should never be, with his eyes having turned black, goes up these stairs. I mean, has Rachel ever asked him what the heck he thought he was doing? Probably not. But that day, it all came tumbling out. Now, Joni and Marcus are in shock. They didn't know anything about this. They're like, why are you accusing Pete? I mean, this is going to blow the family apart. What is this all about? Wow. They want to have a little meeting with sort of the six of them. Marcus, Joni, Jonathan and Susie, Pete, and Rachel. So they have a little powwow in Joni and Marcus' bedroom, and they're all talking, and they're like, and everyone wants, no, this can't possibly be. Marcus wants, to pray and have forgiveness, and let's just move past this. Let's move past this. In bursts Rebecca. She is fit to be tied. She is praying so intensely by the power of the Holy Spirit. She is speaking in tongues. She bursts into the bedroom, and she's like, I'm a part of this family too. I want to be here. I should be here as well. I'm a part of this family as well. Rebecca had discernment. And thank you, Rebecca. Keep that. Keep that discernment, because that is the Holy Spirit discernment. So they begin talking in the room. You know, everyone wants this to all go away. Rebecca is so upset that she lets Marcus know, I don't know why you're not dealing with this right. I don't know why you are not taking care of business and making sure, you know, that we're dealing appropriately with Pete. Why you're not doing that. She was so upset at Marcus. Rebecca and Susie go to the beach. They cry, they pray, they talk together because they know they had been asking God for something to happen. They had prayed together with their trusted friend, Miss Denise Boggs. They had prayed, reveal what is going on, reveal if there's anything more. And this horrendous situation is shown. What kind of man goes into a bedroom when a young girl is told to get changed for the beach? How many of you men out there would do that? No. Not unless you're some kind of wacko. So that's what happened. There was meetings set up. Denise Boggs became very involved. I mean, Marcus wanted Miss Denise Boggs involved, but something that Miss Denise Boggs did that wasn't exactly, you know, kosher with everyone was, I mean, this is just sort of what I'm gathering. It was like Miss Denise Boggs knew that there needed to be more intervention, and she knew Debbie Lenhart. Debbie Lenhart is a forensic investigator, and Miss Denise knew that Debbie Lenhart needed to be a part of this. So Jonathan and Susie went to see her. They gave their side of the story. Debbie Lenhart asked them, if it turns out that this is true, are you willing to press charges? Would you go the distance, even though it's your family member? And they said, absolutely, we will. And so Debbie Lenhart agrees to meet with Rachel and Pete. And Rachel, nonstop, as we see all the time, that little squeaky voice, just gives sort of the whole side of Pete's story. I mean, Debbie Lenhart couldn't really get a word in or get a clear answer because is talking all the time. So something very important happened. You need to hear this. Debbie Lenhart said, I'd like to see you by yourself. Pete, will you come back by yourself? I think there was an agreement that he would. When Rachel and Pete got to the parking lot, they talked with Miss Debbie, they talked with Miss Denise Boggs, and shortly thereafter, Rachel calls Marcus to say Pete has been exonerated when nothing was farther from the truth. In fact, I'm going to say I have to read between the lines here at some of the ways that Debbie Lenhart carefully crafted her words, because she's a professional and I ask tough questions. Debbie Lenhart had to admit that actually there was more questions after they left than before. And she knew she needed a private meeting with Pete. Now, this is a woman trained. She's a professional. And no offense against the Colleyville Police, but it would be good if we could see what questions were asked and answered. Because the whole difficulty in all of this is that this is a war. There's a time for peace and there's a time for war. So I'm about to drop a bombshell. I have alluded several times to there being allegations against Josh Brown. We have waited for cooperation from those who know, and it's been a bit rough because do you know what happens is people get scared for all kinds of their own reasons. They have relationships. They don't want to be, singled out. They have information, but they know that it could be damaging to someone else, so they don't want to say anything, and they don't want to wreck their friendships and alliances, even if it's cowardice on every side. So this is what I know. And we're going to call Planetshakers in just a moment, see if we can get them on the phone. There was a gentleman that worked with Josh Brown in approximately 2012, something like that. This is before he ever met Rachel Brown. And this gentleman was so alarmed by the gay come-ons, by the inappropriate male-to-male flirtation by Josh Brown to this man. He was so alarmed by it. In fact, one of the things was that he had bent over and Josh Brown said, "Oh, don't tempt me." This is the words of the person that was incensed at these things being spoken to him by Josh Brown. There were other things that took place that really alarmed this gentleman working at Planetshakers. The pastor is Pastor Russell Evans. And this gentleman is so alarmed by what Joshua is saying to him and coming on to him that he writes a letter and he sends it to this pastor right here. And he didn't want to do anything because, well, it's Daystar. Consider the ramifications that before Rachel ever met Joshua Brown, there could have been something that's called exposing the evil works of darkness that took place. A biblical principle that when something is wrong and bad, you do it. Because when you don't, things don't get dealt with. Consider that Rachel Lamb was never given the benefit of a warning shot over the bow. This dude likes to come on to guys. This dude says whacked stuff like, Rachel never got that warning because it was never spoken of. Pastor Russell got a letter. He did nothing. The great cover-up. So let's do something. Let's call Planetshakers. Hello.
Hi, we received a call from this number, a missed call. This is Planetshakers. Just wondering if I could assist.
Yes, thank you very much. I did just call, and thank you for calling me back.
No worries.
Yeah, what was your name, ma'am?
Hi, I'm Steph.
I'm sorry, what was it?
Steph?
Your staff. Could
Yes, my name is Steph, like Stephanie.
Oh, Steph, not staff. Okay, Steph,
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I am actually, I have a very important call that I'm making right now, and I really need to speak to Pastor Russell Evans. I would like to speak to him personally. I will be glad to, the protocol is that I need to speak to his assistant. I've done that once before, and I'd like to do that. Yes.
Just wondering who this is.
Okay.
Hi.
Yep, my name is Laura-Lynn, and I am in the media, and I'm calling from Canada. And we have a very serious situation that we are going to be talking about today. And we do need Pastor Russell Evans to be given notification of that, and also an opportunity to speak into it. Could I speak to him?
Okay, give me a moment. Let me just see whether.
My name is
his
Laura-Lynn
assistant
Thompson, yes.
Thompson, Laura-Lynn
Formerly
Thompson.
of Daystar.
Laura Lee or Laura-Lynn?
Laura-Lynn Thompson.
Laura-Lynn Thompson.
Yeah, formerly of
From
Daystar. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just give me a moment. I'll just put you on hold.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That is the weirdest thing of all. So I call Planetshakers. No word of a lie. I mean, it rang and rang, and it sounded like I was going to be getting no one. And then Steph, not staff, although she is on staff, it does appear. Then she calls me back from Planetshakers, and wow. Let's see if we can get Pastor Russell Evans to talk to us. Hello.
Hi, Laura-Lynn.
Hi.
Are you still on the phone?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Unfortunately, she won't be able to speak to you currently. However, we do have a specific process that we do take with media-related things.
Okay.
And so what we will do is I'll just take down the message and I will forward it on to the relevant people. And we will get somebody to call you back as soon as we can.
Okay, so this would be a specific media person that deals with media in your church?
No, that's just specific, like the people who are going to deal with this for you, rather than just anyone. Like, we're wanting to treat this with our highest importance, and we just don't want to just give you any random person.
Right. You want to give me now. Not any random person would probably be Pastor Russell Evans, who has full knowledge. Could you write this down for him?
Yes, I can.
All right. He received a letter, and in that letter, there were allegations that Joshua Brown was making inappropriate gay or homosexual.
Sorry. Can you repeat that?
Yes.
I missed the call.
Yes. Pastor Russell Evans received a letter, a complaint from somebody that worked for Planetshakers, and I'm not going to say his name at this time, although we have it, but the allegations were that a man named Joshua Brown.
Give me a moment.
Yeah.
Of
Josh.
of
Yeah.
Joshua Brown.
Josh. Yeah, for short. Brown.
Okay.
Josh Brown was making inappropriate gay flirtations with this man under the employ of Planetshakers. And this gentleman was none too happy about it, as you can imagine. And so he wrote a letter to Russell Evans asking for this person to be reprimanded and to be dealt with in the spirit of Matthew 18. And Pastor Russell Evans never did want to deal with it because, of course, this person became associated with Daystar in Canada, in the US, all over the world. Daystar television. Yeah. So this gentleman, Joshua Brown, has now been alleged and has been under police investigation in Canada, and generally going by the name Pete for these investigations.
Oh, as in this guy that wrote the letter to him?
Yes. No. Pete is sort of how we state his name publicly. But
Okay.
But for this purpose, we know that the gentleman reported Joshua Brown to Pastor Russell Evans. And we would like to know what Pastor Russell Evans did with that letter.
An individual. Sorry, give me a moment. I
Yes, ma'am.
take as much detail. An individual took down.
The details are important, so thank you for taking time to do it.
Thank you.
So what has happened is that this gentleman, now called Pete, has been in an investigation by the police, and the police have never received this information because there has been a failure of Pastor Russell Evans to do due diligence and report it. Does that make sense? And now,
Maybe if you can repeat it to me in a different way.
yes. Let me say it in a different way. So you can put in quotations, Pete has been under investigation for child sexual assault.
Give me a moment. Under child sexual. Yes?
Yes. And the police should have this information that this same gentleman that is under investigation for child sexual assault also was propositioning another male at Pastor Russell Evans' church.
Was it the male that was propositioning
A male.
or Joshua propositioning this?
Joshua was, yes, you've got that right. Joshua was propositioning another male,
Okay.
saying such inappropriate things that he was so alarmed that he wrote Pastor Russell Evans a letter.
So Joshua wrote or Pete wrote? Pete wrote, right?
So what it is Pete is Joshua Brown.
Oh.
Yeah. So the other man that wrote the letter, I'm going to protect his identity, but Pastor Russell Evans knows this man. But I'm not going to say his name. But Pastor Russell Evans knows that this man complained about Joshua Brown propositioning. And we'd like to know, and you can pass this on to whoever deals with your media or the person you feel should answer this. What did Pastor Russell Evans do with such allegations? Because unfortunately, a woman married that man that did these propositions without any warning. And this same man has been reported, even to the police, that he has been very inappropriate with a child. And we'd like to know what Pastor Russell Evans did with that letter.
Okay, I can pass that on.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for taking my call. I look forward to getting a call back. Do you have my number since you called me back?
Is this your number? Plus.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
We'll get someone to call you back. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes. Have a good day.
Have a good day. So just to clarify, I have just called Planetshakers and Pastor Russell Evans, and as is seen on this picture, Russell Evans is the joint founder and senior pastor of Planetshakers Church and Ministry alongside his wife Sam. He is one of the leading Christian communicators of his time. and highly sought after worldwide for his powerfully anointed preaching and leadership gifts. And I am extremely thrilled to read that, because this says that he is one of the leading Christian communicators. And when we have sin this egregious in the church that is reported, communication is so important. It really is. So there's one more thing I want to leave you with today. When I was with Rachel at the NRB, do you all remember that? We sort of had an encounter, and Rachel approached me and she wanted to talk to me. She wanted to know, why I don't talk to her and, but rather talk about her on the set. And I said, I'd love to talk to her. Now, I did try to give her my number, but, Tracker Man stepped in, step back. And then, Brother Ray was then escorted out of the building for no reason. I was the one beacon off to the security guards. They escorted Pastor Ray out. And what did he say? Everyone together, keep it moving. So earlier, when I had spoken with Rachel over on the side, no cameras were there. Eventually, my dear brother Everett came along, and that was too much exposure for Rachel, so she left. Before she left, I said to her this. I said, Rachel, there's a problem. Your husband has been reported to Planetshakers, to Pastor Russell Evans, for his inappropriate come-ons to another man. I have to say, she looked a little stunned, but she quickly did follow up with this. She said, oh, I know who you're talking about. Do you? Jonathan Lamb has given me permission to say that he spoke with the man who made these allegations. Jonathan and Susie phoned me this morning, and we spoke about what was happening with the police today and sort of how, they're getting a lot of pressure from the Joni, who has, of course, such a problem because her son-in-law, the one who couldn't seem to keep the oxygen, seemed like the oxygen was literally stolen from the air when he watched Marcus. Fascinating. But Joni's son-in-law, as he is daily hosting shows, they of course want his name cleared. So Rachel says she knows this man who made these allegations. Jonathan gave me permission to say that he spoke with this man. They're very credible. This man was disgusted by Joshua Brown, and he reported it to Pastor Russell Evans. Joshua, of course, all of these years later, I wonder what he'll have to say about this. They don't all want to talk about this, everyone. So I wonder if there's anyone in Australia who goes to the Planetshakers. I know I have lots of people who watch from Australia, and I love you. I really do. Because if you're watching this show, it's because you believe that justice and truth is important and that the church needs to be pure and righteous and holy. I'm assuming Pastor Russell Evans believes that. But for some reason, when an allegation was made against a man, Pastor Russell Evans never did a thing. Because of this, no warning was ever given to a young woman who was lied to. You all saw that interview, right? Where the very first words out of Joshua Brown's mouth to Rachel was that he was the assistant, I believe, of Pastor Russell Evans. He lied. It's all on video. I won't bore you. We don't want to keep rehashing things. We can't cover up sin. So there might be some of you that know Planetshakers. You go to Planetshakers. I'm wondering if you'd make some calls. And I'll tell you what, I got a couple numbers for you. So I don't know if we can make a graphic here, JT, but it's +61. It looks like a space 3 space 9896 space 7999. We're going to put that up on the screen. +61 space 3 space 9896 space 7999. And then there's another one, and just change it. It's 7922. So it's 61 space 3 space 9896 space 7922. And that's the number that called me back when my call didn't go through. And I just thank God for the efficiency of that church. That lovely Steph should be commended, maybe even a raise. She did a very good job taking the details of what we wanted to share, and I am sure that someone from Planetshakers is going to get right back to me with an explanation. And I just want to say I would prefer a nice private chat with Pastor Russell Evans. His assistant was unable to take my call. The last time I called, she was willing to do it, but not this time. So, may God clean the house. May righteousness and holiness rise to a place that it should be in the house of God. That's what all of this is about. I feel like if everyone did their job, keeping the church clean, not covering, I don't know why Pastor Russell Evans truly, it was said something about, well, it's Daystar. Like Josh was at Daystar. Now, I don't know. Maybe that wasn't it. I could be wrong, but I heard that. I don't know why he would choose not to deal with it, but he chose not to deal with it. The same way that Mike Bickle's clan, who run with him, chose not to deal with it. The same way that Dr. Michael Brown's board covers for him. And we'll talk about Dr. Michael Brown a little bit more tomorrow. Because today, this is all I want to say. I don't know, JT, that I actually finished the pathetic media statement of Daystar. I'll just finish it. Although saddened by those who were led to believe the gossip, rumors, and false accusations promulgated on social media, Daystar appreciates the love and support it has received from countless viewers and ministry partners. Another blazing lie. Do you mean the countless viewers that are no longer watching because your viewership has plummeted? Do you mean the supporters that have asked for their money back? Is it that supporters you're talking about? Do you mean your ministry partners and those that have been on your network that have left? Is that the support that you're saying you've gotten? Because anyone can see you have not gotten support. There is an outcry like never before. So everyone, it is the Colleyville Police. They've been getting the pressure. I will say that God is not mocked. Whatever has been done in the secret will be shouted from the rooftops. Good news, everyone. In Texas, there's no statute of limitations on allegations of sexual assault. My website is Laura-Lynn.tv. And I want to thank from the bottom of my heart all of you who support us, for you who are not fooled by any of it, for you who honor truth and justice and biblical integrity. That's the people that watch my show. That's the remnant. You are the tribe. We gather together. I was out for dinner at a great friend's house last night, and she has been someone who had to come forward with information. We are finding that when we get set free from trying to please man, from the fear of man, because I think the fear of man might be what happened here in this situation. But we don't have that here. We have the fear of the Lord. So if you honor this kind of programming, I'm asking you to push that button. PayPal works from anywhere in the world. If you're in Australia, I hope that you will let your voice be heard. Let your question be heard. Why was there no action taken? It could have spared a lot of people, Pastor Russell. A lot. If there's any of you that want some ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, just contact Mia at SozoHealth at proton.me. And also, if there's any of you who would like some gold or silver, don't keep your money in that fiat currency. I don't know what our dollar in Canada or in the US is compared to the Australian dollar, but things are going south all over the world because why? Well, it's not backed by real gold. And he who has the gold and silver are the Lord's actually. So invest some of your funds into gold and silver. And while that's rising, we don't know what'll happen with fiat currency. So look into that. Thank you for being with me. I want to share with you from the Word today. I'd like to close today by reading from Psalms 52. It's a maskil of David, the great king, the one who had been forgiven many sins and was a man after God's own heart. But this is what he said, and I think his words bear great and thought-provoking insight. Why do you boast of evil, you mighty hero? Why do you boast all day long? You are a disgrace in the eyes of God. You who practice deceit, your tongue plots destruction. It is like a sharpened razor. You love evil rather than good, falsehood rather than speaking the truth. You love every harmful word, you deceitful tongue! Exclamation mark. Surely God will bring you down to everlasting ruin. He will snatch you up and pluck you from your tent. He will uproot you from the land of the living. The righteous will see and fear, and they will laugh at you, saying, Here now is the man who did not make God his stronghold, but trusted in his great wealth. And grew strong by destroying others. But I am like an olive tree, flourishing in the house of God. I trust in God's unfailing love forever and ever. For what you have done, I will always praise you in the presence of your faithful people, and I will hope in your name. And your name is good. God's name is powerful. His name is good. His name can be trusted. His truth and justice never fail. He watches everything to see what the thoughts and the intents and the agendas of the heart are. And when you do not do what is right before him, he sees. May we keep a short slate. It's not that we're perfect, but rather that we are able to be forgiven. May we not hide secret sins. May we be those who will expose and hold to account everyone who does what is not right in the sight of the Lord, so that the church can be set free, so that the church can be without spot or wrinkle, so that his return can come forth. May God help our hearts to be pure before him. May we have no fear of man, because God is watching. He's a just God. He loves us, but his justice sees everything. So we pray that even as circumstances come about at this hour, that his truth, that what he wants to see revealed, will in its time and in God's way come to pass. It's a time for truth. God bless. You know, it's not easy to deliver the truth of what our sick world is doing, but for some of us, we feel that we have no choice. Because if we are silent about these abominable things, then we are letting evil go unchecked, and we cannot do that. For those of you wonderful people who are writing me and are sharing your encouragement, I am deeply grateful. Thank you for all the letters that you've been sending. Thank you for the donations and the support. I found out that in order to speak the truth, you have to become very, very strong. If you would go to my website at www.lauralynn.tv, you'll find all of the ways that you can contact me. Remember, my friends, all is well. All is well. Thanks for joining me.